A content warning for the book. We have alcoholism, child abuse, domestic abuse, racial slurs, mental illness, extreme violence, and some gore. And then for the video, we have alcoholism, child abuse, and domestic abuse. It will be mentioned, but not very much discussed. The Shining. I had never read the book. I'd never really seen the movie, but I knew the cultural impact of it, like the hotel is haunted and here's Johnny and all that jazz. So Jack Torrance is fired after drunkenly attacking one of his high school students, and then he manages to find a job as a off-season caretaker of this beautiful, massive old hotel in the mountains of Colorado. He needs to keep the hotel from falling apart in the snowstorms, and then to mainly keep the boiler running during the colder months. Another reason for him coming is to try and mend the bridge between him and his wife after he drunkenly attacked his son Danny and broke his arm. And then Jack is also grateful for the time to really focus on his writing. And if I had a nickel for the number of times Stephen King's protagonist was a writer, I'd have 13 nickels, which is a lot. And it's weird it's happened 13 times. Like across his 65 novels and novellas, excluding the short stories, we have 20% author protagonists. I mean, they say write what you know, and he knows how to write. So Danny has this strange ability where he's able to hear into people's minds and see things happening far away from him, as well as being able to call out in his mind to people who are miles and miles away from him. When his mother Wendy and he go for a little tour of the hotel when they first get there, he learns from the head chef that it's this thing called a shining. This day starts off normal. Danny can feel things are off, but Dick, the chef, he told him that if he can tell the things to go away, then he should be okay. Jack is working hard to stay on the wagon and in control of alcoholism, and Wendy is working her best to make sure nothing is falling apart in the family, as fragile as it is. And then the hotel starts affecting both Danny and Jack. Danny tries his best to fight off these ghost, demon, energy things, while Jack seems to be accepting this negative energy, and it starts bleeding into his treatment of Jack and Wendy, even affecting his thoughts when we're in his point of view. As things really start to get worse, Danny mentally calls out to Dick, begging him to please come help them. Dick immediately jumps up and tries to get to Colorado from where he is in Florida as fast as he can. So now we're jumping points of view between Jack's mental decline, Danny's fear of the hotel, Wendy trying to deal with Jack and keep Danny safe, and Dick frantically trying to get there. The book culminates in the hotel telling Jack that he needs to kill Wendy and Danny in order to better control them, and because the hotel believes that Jack is capable of incredible things, that his family is holding him back. He attacks Wendy and then starts to hunt down Danny. Dick finally comes to the rescue, but when Jack corners Danny, the hotel overpowers him, and before he can kill his son, he realizes that the boiler that he's supposed to be taking care of, he hasn't been taking care of it, and it is, the pressure is about to blow. So he runs down, he thinks he's fixed it. Boom! Explosion. But luckily, Dick, Wendy, and Danny manage to escape, and then we jump forward in the epilogue, and everyone is better, but at what cost? Thoughts? Okay, so Stephen King does know how to write. It's not like hard-hitting, like speculative, really like emotional, making you think fiction, but it is very consumable fiction, very like, wow, this is just psh, 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 kind of writing. This is one of his most popular books, and I totally get why. And it's crazy that this was only his third book. He came out right out the gate with Carrie, slaps, Salem's Lot, never read it, this, slaps, banger after banger after banger. And then he was like, was this all a fluke? Did I get lucky? Am I actually a good writer? And then he wrote a couple of books as Richard Bachman, and then that was found out, but not until like 10 years later. Anyway. But King is really good about writing how different people think and react to their surroundings. Like, it felt very much like 4 different people across the points of view. It didn't just feel like the author putting on a different hat, like, okay, now I'm Wendy, now I'm Jack. Yeah. And there's this fun writing trick that King has where in the middle of the character's point of view, in the prose, we get like little bits of slanty writing, what's that called? Italicized writing, where it's like intrusive thoughts coming in, and that felt very, like, to me at least, I don't know how other people think, crazy as that sounds, how you just, you're thinking, you're going about, and then suddenly something jumps in and like startles you almost. And then, not to get all like, but an interesting theme that I found in this book was that of toxic and fragile masculinity. The way the hotel was able to reach into Jack and to start really like controlling him was through this. It tapped into like his feelings of missed potential and his like necessity for greatness. It's not really until Jack finds out the history of the hotel, and he wants to write a book about it because he feels that the world deserves to know about the hotel's greatness and its wonderful history and all that's happened to it, because he feels the hotel has also lost its potential, just like he has, and it's being taken advantage of. He has this constant idea that the things that have gone wrong in his life, he was more of a passive participant to. Like, things have wronged him, he didn't mess up at all. And then the hotel is able to convince him that, you know what, yes, you have been wronged, and here's what you can do to take back control. Kill your family. Alright, look, all the positive stuff out of the way. Let's complain now. So, Stephen, Mr. King, why you gotta talk about sex so much? Why we gotta know how Wendy's bazoingers feel? Why do we have to go into her mind post-coital? This is like the 3rd chapter, right at the beginning. Post-coital, feeling the juices coming out of her. Girl, go pee. You're gonna get a UTI. I don't need this. And like literally the same day, hours after Danny is first attacked by something in the hotel, he has bruises on his neck. Wendy is freaking out, like, we need to get out of here, we need to make sure he's okay. And then we're just like, hey, let's have a sex scene. I'm like, girl, why is this on your mind? Why are you like into this? Not to say that we can't have sex scenes in books. We can't even mention sex. No. I'm not saying that. It just, they felt so out of left field every time. When Stephen King writes as much as he does, because he's written so freaking much, and one of the things that he says is the way to become a better writer is just to write. So I'm sure he just like stream of consciousness creates things, and it's just, we don't need to have a sex scene every time he didn't know what the characters needed to do. They don't need to do each other. We don't need this all the time. First draft, and then cut it. And I'm not gonna rant about the movie because it's a different story. I mean, it's the same broad strokes, but it's very, very different. And I totally get why Stephen King was like, when the movie came out, he was like, that's not my story. Why would you do this to me?
That's just weak movie writing. You wrote a bad movie, Petey.
And like, there are a million things that are wrong and different between the two, and if you want that, you can go look it up. There's plenty of videos all over the place. But the biggest thing that annoyed me between the two was how Kubrick disrespected my man Dick. Because, like, he's such a big character. He's such a big influence on Danny. And we go to his point of view tons and tons of times about him trying to get to the hotel, stressing, trying to figure out what's going on. But in the movie, he gets to the hotel and is immediately killed. Like he was just a plot device to get the snowmobile thing for Wendy and Danny to get out of there. We didn't... Stanley. Dick didn't deserve that. And like also with the movie, and I'm not gonna rant about the movie. The main character is Jack. It's a completely different focusing on Jack. And Danny is barely a character at all. Okay, which I get, because reading and hearing about all of the ways Shelley Duvall was treated on set, and like how Kubrick really disrespected her as an actor and as a person, I would not want that treatment on a character main child. So in a way, I'm glad Danny was shunted to supporting role. And then Stephen King was able to get some of the film rights back and went on to create a miniseries, which I haven't watched yet, but will. And then I am currently reading the Percy Jackson series, like the full... I'm at the very beginning of The Blood of Olympus, so that's exciting. What should I read next? I have gotten a bunch more books, and I haven't put them into the thing yet. So I think I'm just gonna grab something. I have a problem. Like I have to take all of my Titanic books out of the shelves to make room. I have a whole separate Titanic book pile. You know, let's keep the spooky times going. Final girl support group.